Hello, this is Dale Matthews, and I'm joined by Mike Jones. Say hi, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
You know, we did a really good story yesterday about happy things, successful things going on in the community in county government. So, I don't always want to be the guy that's bringing you bad news, but without a newspaper in this town, who else is going to tell you any of these stories? And so, this is Wednesday. And we were at the weekly business session today, and they made a big fuss over Lisa Shipley, who is the Veteran Service Officer. She works in the county's Veteran Service Department, and she's the one that veterans go to for help in getting their benefits. There's usually a person in every county in America, probably, whose job it is, and it's often paid entirely for. It's often paid for entirely by the state or usually federal government to help veterans get their benefits. You see over my shoulder here, Disabled American Veterans Magazine. And over this one, Sandy Casanelli. Now, Sandy Casanelli was in the Merchant Marine, and you know that eventually the Merchant Marine is going to be recognized after all those guys, all guys, I guess, who died on those ships in World War II, that eventually someone's going to say, of course those were veterans. Of course they were involved in the war, just as much as someone who drove a truck in the Army. We're disappointed in what's happening with the Veterans Service Office. Mike, you want to lay out a little bit of the background about this?
Well, it's essentially that the Veteran Service Officer, Lisa Shipley, is there. Under her reign in this office, there are now lesser services, and now it's about to cost the county a whole lot more because today they just gave her. Well, I'm not sure they gave her the 5-tier pay raise. Well, I guess they did give her a 5-tier pay raise, and then they landed her somewhere in the middle of that 5th tier in terms of what they're going to be paying her. And it's going to cost a lot more money, and we're not getting a better product for it, although she put on a good show today and a happy story about how wonderful they're doing.
Well, it's important to note, this is not a 5-step increase from those of you who know the general services GS ratings and everything. This is a 5-tier jump. She's jumping from the equivalent of GS 13 to the equivalent of GS 18. That's a big jump. And the reasoning that the commissioners gave for this is, well, she's been doing a great job for a long time and it's overdue. Has she been doing a great job? Okay, we're going to talk a little bit this evening about grateful veterans that are happy to get their money. And so they don't really want to hear that there's some kind of problems with the payroll person or whoever. But we're going to introduce you to the problem immediately. You're not going to see this in the Courier, and certainly KJO doesn't know anything about it. And if they did, they're not going to tell you. Here is the truth about what's happening with the Veterans Service Department and Lisa Shipley. Go ahead, Mike.
This is Dale Matthews. Here's Lisa Shipley, head of the Veterans Service Office, briefing Simon Hare and Keith Heck about her on-the-clock work time activities, which centered around pushing veterans to vote for the 2013 law enforcement levy and convincing their health care providers to spread the county's tax message.
We have 40 to 50 local representatives that we work with that have stakes in anything to do with veterans, healthcare providers, and the VA, and education, and the employment agencies. And so Diane did a really that was a great thing she did, developing a list of other entities that she's working within, and I will do that.
Shipley is reporting to the commissioners that she, representing the Veterans Service Office have been lobbying hard for the levy.
They put me on the spot and asked, will this, department continue?
Wait, what was that? Shipley says that veterans and their concerned healthcare providers are asking if the Veterans Service Department will continue. You mean because it's somehow linked to the levy? How did that come up?
Veterans have been walking their offices that time of year. I've been passing out your cards, multiple cards daily.
Why would the head of the Veterans Service Office be handing out contact cards for the county commissioners? As Lisa Shipley said, it's that time of year, so anxious veterans were seeking reassurance about the future of their benefits, and they were being told by Shipley that there was a question about the continued operations of the county's Veterans Service Office if the levy did not pass. We know now that Shipley told some veterans flat out that if they didn't vote for the levy, there might not be a place for them to come to collect their benefits from now on. You can imagine how her warning really panicked some of our elderly people on fixed incomes. Shipley also visited hospital wards and retirement homes, spreading the same false story. And she did it on the county's payroll. Now she's reporting her progress to these attentive county commissioners.
Is the board's card daily. So I just want to let you know that I do inform as politically correctly as I can, being a county employee. I do inform the mass public that there is a levy on the ballot.
Again, why is the head of the Veterans Service Department informing people that there's a levy on the ballot? Why?
They need to do the research. It is 148 on 1,000, which would equate to, and I'm just giving out public information, which would equate to, what that would mean for the average homeowner. It's very important they do their education. I point them to the website, and I also make the statement that it would be common knowledge that if you support a service, you generally will get the services that you support financially, which is about all I can say on from being a county employee. That being said, I direct them to you. Sure.
Then, as now, the commissioners continued telling everyone that the county had no knowledge of or involvement with the 2013 levy. They say the same thing today. Oh, and Lisa Shipley is about to get a big raise.
Yeah.
Does it never stop?
Well, you know what? It's funny watching that video. It occurred to me that these guys are just as culpable as she is. In fact, more so. They're supposed to be the oversight in this department here. They're the ones who are supposed to see that she isn't violating the law, or if she is violating the law, to put a stop to it. And I saw no alarm recognition of
No, they
any
were
kind.
laughing. They were laughing along with her. Not only was she absolutely did violate the law. Okay, and she lied to them, so that's a violation of another book, which I don't think he would appreciate. But the most important thing is she's now being given her reward, a 5-tier pay jump. Why is she being given this? Because that was the closest the levy ever came to passing. She was going to retirement homes. She was going to where these old darlings are found and warning them and panicking them into voting for something that she had lied to them about.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, that should be enough to get fired right there. And it was funny. It occurred to me that, why wouldn't you just refer this to the State Ethics Commission? And then I thought, well, not only do they not do anything about the many complaints that they've gotten from people in this county, But also, I heard that they were the ones who are going to look into the governor's fiance. I thought, yeah, I'm going to expect about the same out of that investigation as we do out of anything that comes out of, things that are happening in Josephine County.
These are the same people who are going to determine on their own whether are we media with 200,000 views now, or are we nothing? What you're watching right now, is this media of any kind? Well, obviously not, because you're not really watching this. Like Keith Heck, you don't know whether you're watching this show or you're at home in the bathtub.
That's right.
Sorry. Well, I didn't think I'd be making any jokes during. This is a really serious issue. You know, my dad was a World War II veteran and the Korean War. And this is what he'd call FUBAR. And if you don't know what that means, then
just Google it.
Yes,
just Google it.
And FUBAR,
yes.
Something
Okay,
beyond all recognition. No,
right,
it doesn't.
yes.
No. And
Yes.
and the thing is that when he was in a war zone, because it was a war zone, they had a fellow that was their paymaster, and the paymaster, they found out that he had been sort of dipping into their pay. Well, that guy was lucky to get out of there alive, and it wasn't because Germans were after him.
Yeah.
So here's somebody that's taking these vulnerable veterans. They want to know that they're on a fixed income. They want to get their money. But talk to me a little bit, Mike, about the other side, about how people who are kind of desperate and they need their money and they want their money, how they really prefer not to believe that she isn't just the world's sweetheart.
Well, of course, because you know what? Nobody wants to threaten the source of their sustenance. You know, that just makes sense. And most of these people don't care about the minutia about what's going on in county government, and they don't. And listen, most people, even most people watching this, probably aren't paying attention to what's going on in this county financially. They think, oh, we're in dire straits. Oh yeah, well, why are we raising this person 5 tiers then? And why are we buying $600,000 software? Why are we? I mean, the list goes on. There's a long, long list, and if you're paying attention, you know this.
Every week, there's it was the HR director, the human resources director, that brought this forward after all of his scholarly research. I bet he really feels like a jerk. At least he should. She should have been fired for doing this awful thing, for betraying the trust of these people who fought and died for our country. Anyway, Sandy Casanelli had something to say earlier. The reason we're playing this clip back for you with audio only is that we have the best video of anybody, and the county, because of their hookup, has the best audio if it works. And so we always try to combine the best with the best, and then we present it to you with, well, Mike's the best, but not me. And the thing is that with the amount of time that we had, we could only present to you the audio with a still picture of Sandy Casanelli. So here's what Sandy Casanelli came forward and talked about at today's weekly business session to try to explain some of the money aspects of the Veterans Service Office. Go ahead, Mike.
Sandy Casanelli, Maryland, Oregon. We hear a lot about the county's financial woes, about how it's at bare bones, hanging by its fingernails and close to the fiscal cliff. Yet today, this board will determine whether to give the Veteran Service Officer a 5-grade pay increase. This would allow Lisa Shipley to start making $25.82 per hour, and with time she would end up making $34.18. To put this in perspective, at the end of this pay grade, this program manager will be earning about what our elected officials are currently being paid. It wasn't that long ago when we had a Veteran Service Office open 40 hours per week. But several years ago, Lisa said she was swamped with paperwork and needed time to do it when she didn't have to deal with the public. Her request was to work 10 hours per day, 4 days a week. She later revealed that being closed on Fridays would also allow her to spend more time with her family. But when she received help by way of additional personnel in the program, she did not reopen the office to the public on Fridays. From 2007 to the present, the program went from 1.7 FTEs to 3 employees, but the public's access to the department decreased. They're still closed on Fridays, but additionally, they're currently only open for walk-in business on Mondays from 9 to 4 p.m. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays are accessible to the public by appointment only. That hardly seems worth the $166,000 we're paying in personal services for these 3 per year. This year's budget also reveals that $9,000 is allocated for travel and $3,800 is allocated for education and training. Out of total expenditures of $52,000, that's over 24% of their requirements for travel and training. But this program has yet to outreach to some of the World War II veterans in our area. On July 26, 2011, when the Rogue Valley chapter of the American Merchant Marine Veterans had a town hall meeting here in the Ann Basker, Lisa could not attend due to family obligations. And it seemed that even though all this money has been spent on her travels and education, it still has not prompted her to make the 17-mile trip to Gold Hill to talk to these Josephine and Jackson County veterans at one of their meetings. This is pretty shameful, and now you want to give her a 5-grade pay raise? This is why the public is fed up with the current fiscal management of this board, and this is why a public safety will never pass in Josephine County.
Here's the thing. Now look, anybody can say, well, people make a few little mistakes here and there. This is a perfect indication, all in one little bag, of what's wrong with the way this place is being run. This is a place where they depend on veterans to come in and talk with them about what their problems are. But it went from open 5 days a week with you could walk in and tell them your problems, to open 4 days a week so she could spend time with their family on the county payroll, and now it's only open to walk-in traffic 1 day a week with more people than ever before. What in the world is going on here? And then she gets, even if she hadn't cheated and lied to veterans who deserve the best treatment, not the worst treatment, this is ridiculous. What kind of department is this? And she often talks about how much work she does, but she's got these helpers. She even walked in with a student intern today. They routinely also use student interns. So I guess there's a lot of work, which is great. But is the county really paying attention to how services are being rendered to people? Go, Mike.
I personally, listen, there are plenty of examples from above that that explain why this department is being run in this way. I mean, just look at the VA as an example.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and there is no accountability there. So, I mean, could you imagine if you work in such a department, you would get used to this lower level of accountability, and after a while you would probably begin to believe that even the low level of effort that you're putting into things is a big deal and is really, due some higher consideration pay-wise.
But Mike, Lisa Shipley is recognized statewide for all of the money that's funneled through her office to deserving veterans. And they asked today, no, why is it that so many deserving veterans are here in Josephine County, which then accounts for how much money goes to them? And you heard the answer.
Yeah, you know what? I thought it was a little odd that they were mentioning how much money goes to veterans. I mean, what they're talking about, I'm assuming, I have to assume, that what they're talking about is the amount of benefits that are being paid by the federal government to veterans in this county. What does that have to do with her performance at all?
Ah.
Does this mean somehow that she is getting these benefits for if not for her, they would not be getting these benefits?
See, this is what the veterans are being told on a daily basis. That's the whole point. See, if it wasn't for me, now you veterans, this is why they're so happy with their, oh, I really went to bat for you when they said no, and I took them down and I wrestled them and I got your money for you.
Yes, and by the way,
I find that
vote for the levy.
despicable.
Yes, yeah, and vote for the levy while you're at it, because if you don't, you know what's going to happen.
We may not even have an office anymore.
You're going to be sleeping in a bus shelter.
I'm a miracle worker, and I might be gone if you don't vote for the levy. And by the way, what did happen when the 2013 levy didn't pass? Did the Veterans Service Office close?
Oh, yeah, it's gone now. Yeah, it's all gone.
It was a lie. She was lying to these people. These people trust her. They believe in her. She touts the, oh, look at what I'm doing for you. And then she took that trust from some of them were poor old dears and some of them were crusty old guys. But she took all of that trust. And
you know what?
She lied to them.
This is touching on something that I've felt in my core here for a while, and that is that when you become a government employee, you become part of this club, and Lisa Shipley, okay, she's the Veteran Service. What possible motivation does she have? Why is it necessary? Why would she take it upon herself to, be out campaigning for the levy with her with her clients?
And on our time.
Yes, and why would she do that? But she's not the only one.
No.
The Archie Leidy of SOS. Who's the guy that was running that meeting the other day? Who's
Archie Leidy is a police officer and a detective, I think. And Jay Meredith is the city's finance director. And
it's a long list.
Okay. Well, I was going to say the assessor. She said you can bring your pages that you've had signed to get this on the ballot. You can bring them by my office, my county office, in the courthouse.
The point is that what do all these people have in common? They're all benefited by the same system that's in place, and ultimately, they see themselves standing in front of the commissioners, getting their pay increase. They all think that somehow that's ultimately going to happen. And there's only one way that's going to happen, and that is when the county has more money to spend.
But what you don't see is the planning director saying to people that are coming in that want to build an addition to their home, you may not be able to build addition to your home this time next year if you don't vote for the levy, because my office might close.
Wow. Yeah. Is this an example you're citing?
Oh, I just made that one up, but I mean, you don't hear that.
No, right. I see what you're saying. So, right. You know what? I just think I would really like to see. We don't really know. This is the bottom line. If this county is as broke as they say it is, nobody should be getting a pay increase. No one.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Okay, so it's obviously BS, and we don't know the truth. Either that or these people are just completely irresponsible, and another PERS bond is in the works.
But here's the thing that bothers me the most about this. Okay, so you look at somebody like Mark Gatlin, for example. Okay, Mark Gatlin and his campaign manager, Sherry Adkins, I stood right there and listened to them speaking with people, and they were telling the people that were going by that were signing this to get this on the ballot that that don't worry about it. 100% of the money will go straight to the sheriff. No, it won't. I mean, look, even if it was 99, it's not 100%. Okay, it's 90%. Okay, all right, but it's illegal to tell because people were asking about it. Now, if it means nothing, then why bring it up? The current thing from the current folks that are running for trying to get the levy to pay, oh, well, no, it's not 10%, it's only 1/2 of 1%. That's not true. So, okay, so that's one example. Then we got an example of here's Lisa Shipley telling people, oh, if you don't vote for the levy, you know, you might not have a veteran service office. What these have in common is, even if I had no opinion about a levy, I'm not going to be voting for something where I know that people are lying to me. What else are they lying to me about? Who are these people?
Well, and you know what the funny thing is I think she underestimated the intelligence of the people that she was working with, because I think, and you know, I mean, the vote bears it out, that ultimately these people took their little pencil and paper out and went, now, if Lisa Shipley is not there for me to talk to, am I still going to get my government services? You bet I am. All I have to do is go direct to the VA or something like that. So let me see here. Maybe she is telling the truth. Let me take a look at what that's going to do to my taxes, and let's do a little bit of this. You know, these people are not stupid. Most of them probably did not vote for it.
Well, you may have noticed that the date on this was 2013. We're talking about 2013 levy. And we released this video in its original version at that time, and there was a storm, and you know what kind of storm I'm talking about. There was a storm, and then the little indications, because no one in county government is going to say, boy, you know, we really got caught with our pants down on that, but they never say that. And so Lisa Shipley would come in. This is just one example. I mean, how many are there? How about let's change the license plates just before the investigators show up? Okay, you got one of those. That's Rob Brandis. Rob Brandis. Okay, so Lisa had been coming in once a month to do a breathless, literally breathless report to the commissioners about all the wonderful things about Lisa. And right after that video was released, they all decided that Lisa would come in not once a month, once a quarter, 4 times a year instead of 12 times a year, and her reports are this long now. I mean, they actually had to ask her to stop in the past because she was taking up, you know, half an hour. I'm not making this up, half an hour. Yeah. So when they say today, well, this raise has been long overdue, yeah, they couldn't give her a raise right then because the video had just come out where she had cheated everybody. She had lied to them. She had taken these vulnerable veterans and then used them. And now
she probably hoped to get this increase some time ago, but Dale Matthews.
Yes. You know, I'm bad for her economic development.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so now there's one more guy that has something to say, and he's kind of full of beans, but let's see what he has to say here, Mike.
Dale Matthews grants pass. Is it really necessary to be so tough on the veteran service officer? Yes. And this is why. This is the videotape, and both of you were there, of Lisa Shipley explaining her role in the 2013 levy.
What a flattering picture, by the way.
She reported to you that on the county payroll, she was telling veterans that if they didn't vote for the levy, perhaps the Veteran Service Office would close. It's a lie. She was going around to retirement homes and to the hospitals telling the poor old folks there that perhaps their benefits would be more difficult to get if the Veteran Service Office in the courthouse was not open, and that they needed to vote for the levy. She reported to you, and you listened to her very carefully as she explained that when all of those people came in asking questions and concerned about their benefits, that she was routinely handing out your business cards. Now, why would a veteran service officer be handing out business cards for the county commissioners? Because, as she pointed out to them, you know, you get what you pay for, and had said bluntly to others, if you don't vote for the levy, you may not have a veteran service office. This is betrayal of the people that laid down their lives for this country. My father was a hero. He was awarded 2 Purple Hearts. He's in Arlington. He would call this FUBAR, and it is. Now, lots of people say, but she's the money person. I like the money person. Of course you do. Who doesn't like the money person? But it's happened with my father when he was in the war, when it turned out that the payroll guy was dipping into their funds. I'm not saying she's doing that. I'm saying she betrayed her trust. He almost died, and it wasn't from enemy action. So, does it create a question? Well, obviously not to you. Because what is her reward for doing this great service to the 2013 levy? By the way, it didn't pass. Did the Veteran Service Office close? Of course not. There's no linkage. This is her reward. A 5-step increase. Not step, 5-tier increase. So the message is that if you toe the line, if you help the commissioners deceive the people about not being involved, and you're going to get a pay raise. It's at our website.
Yes.
Yep. Well.
Well, where's your funny closing statement, Mike?
Oh yeah, because that was a laugher, that lead in there.
It hurts my feelings to know that our county is doing this to people. And maybe you, as the audience, don't really like hearing about this, but I mean, who else is going to tell you this stuff? Certainly the commissioners aren't. Look at what they're doing in rewarding her. They should have fired her. They should have been fired for listening and doing nothing about it.
Well, and their management, their employee management, really would never hold up in the private sector. There's no way that you could take somebody like this, put them in a position, have them operate a fewer number of days per week, offer less access to the service that people need,
and then cheat everybody around you.
Yeah, and then give her a pay raise and add more people to her department, and if you wonder why the county is not doing well, if you wonder why they don't have enough service, they always are going to short the sheriff's department, because that's where the rubber meets the road. That's where that's what's going to make people cry loud enough and feel the pain deep enough to vote for a levy to give more money to the county so they can waste even more of it on stuff like this.